Hey, thanks for joining me. I took another chance to get kind of out of my house and enjoy a little bit of time outdoors. I was thinking the other day about knives that you can get that are made in the United States, and there's still a lot of knife makers here in the United States and make some really fantastic knives, but by and large, they're a bit more expensive than what you'll get if you're buying a knife that's made overseas. And so I wanted to see just kind of a what if. Can you still buy a U.S. made pocket knife for under $20? Is that still possible? And in fact, it is. And there's actually a couple of them out there. So the one I chose is probably from one of the most popular brands, and that's this little Buck. I think it's a Bantam 284 pocket knife. And you can. I think the suggested retail price on these is $19.99. I got it online for $1 or $2 less than that, so it's less than $20. Now I saw, like on Blade HQ, I saw there was, I think, some Baron Sons had a knife or two in that price range. Gerber had, I think it's their LST, was slightly over that, like $22 or something, but still close enough. But I thought I would go ahead and just get this Buck so we could talk about, what's available, an affordable knife made in the United States, and, what can you get? Now, when I got the knife, started reading through the literature that came with it, I was struck by the fact that the knife is made in the U.S.A. from some imported materials. Now, what's actually imported? I don't know. Since the blade actually says U.S.A. on it, I'm going to bet that the blade's probably made in Post Falls, Idaho. My guess is that the scales, the plastic handle material, is probably made in China or something, and then it's assembled here. That would be my guess. I really don't know for sure. Probably not worth pursuing. What I do know is the knife comes from their factory. I think it's in Post Falls, Idaho. Well, it used to be. I many years ago was working in Post Falls, Idaho at a job I was working on, and I had a chance to go to the Buck factory and see where they made their knives and read about their. They had a very descriptive display. They have kind of like a little mini museum in there. But talks about their heat treating process and the guy that developed it and all that. So, they use 428C, which is an economy steel, but I think they get performance out of it that exceeds what a lot of other people that use it manage to get. And they use not only heat treating, but cryogenic processing, some real sophisticated heat treating processes to get a lot of performance out of their blade steel. So I've been using this knife a little bit. It seems to be holding an edge pretty good. I have not sharpened it. It's still got the factory edge, which was, it's machine sharpened. It's not, like a real super duper, super sharpened edge like you can get with, good stones. But still it's sharp and cuts just fine. And so I've been using it, for opening boxes and typical tasks around the house, cutting some okra out of the garden and doing some things like that. So it's worked quite well. I've enjoyed using it. It's very lightweight. The scales, like I say, are plastic, and there's no liners in them. It's got this back lock, and so it's a really usable blade profile I like. And if you've watched my videos, I don't like a blade with a lot of upsweep. So this is pretty nice, and it's not the Bantam 284 doesn't have a pocket clip. It's got a lanyard hole. It's made to be just dropped in your pocket, but it's pretty comfortable in the hand, And at that price, if you lose one of these or something, it's probably not a big deal. It's probably a great knife to give to a young person that's joining Boy Scouts or something. If they're taking on a camp out and they manage to lose it, it's not the end of the world. But still, you're buying something U.S. Now, I want to talk about that just a little bit. I'm not one of those people that tries to buy everything I buy made in the United States. I wish Well, I don't know if I wish we could. I like buying some things from some countries, other countries, but I wish more things were made in the United States, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Sadly, today we've moved a lot of our manufacturing overseas, and I think our people and our economy suffers because of that. But we still have some people that are dedicated to making things in the United States, and so I like to support U.S. companies that are producing products in the United States. And I think any citizen of any country, wherever you live, should support products made in your country. I think that's a wise thing to do. But again, I'm not going to say I never buy anything from China. That would be, I don't know that in this day and age, if it's even possible to not buy something made in China. I don't know that that's even possible. I think if you go to any store, even the grocery store, some of the food we eat is processed and packaged in China and shipped over here. So I don't think you can even exist in this day and age in America without buying some things made in China. That's just the way it is. So that's just something I think we live with. So I'm not of a mind that I could go through my life and not buy anything made in China. That's just not possible. It's just not a reality. And I may not agree with China's politics and their communist government, and I'm not sure exactly how it works in terms of their manufacturing and who reaps the benefits of that. I'm sure being a communist country, the government probably owns a stake in most manufacturing, if not owning it outright. And again, I don't really know exactly the mechanics of how that plays out. But here's what I do know at the most basic level is that every morning there's a man and or a woman. They get up in the morning and they get their kids ready for school and they feed them, get them dressed and send them off to school. And then they make their way to a factory and they work all day producing pocket knives or whatever other thing that they need to produce. And at the end of the day, they go home and they be with their families and they're with their families and they do things together. And, the next day they do it all over again. And when I buy something that's made in China, I know, or any other country, including the United States, I know that at the most basic level, I'm helping a family survive, or families survive. There are people that make a livelihood from those products. And even if I don't agree with the politics of the country that built them, I have to understand that at some level, there's a family that's surviving because we buy these products. And so I think that's something from a human point of view, it's good to understand that even though we're in a situation now where, you're going to buy stuff made in China, probably. I mean, I don't know how you avoid it. At its most basic level, doing so supports some families somewhere. So there's that. The other thing I think we have to be honest about is you can buy, let's say, a pocket knife with more features, a better pocket knife made in China for the same money than one made in the United States. And I'm sad that we've put ourselves in the United States here in a place where we cannot manufacture things. We can't compete with other countries in terms of manufacturing. And that's a whole bigger discussion about why that is. I'm not going to get into that here. But as an example, this Buck Bantam 284, plastic scales, no liners, decent knife steel. This is also a Buck, and it's a model 209, made in China. This was part of a 2-pack gift set that I bought on sale for $15. Probably was about $30 before it was on sale. Then there's 2 knives in there, so presumably they're each one a little less than $20. This has also a blade made of 428C. I don't know if the heat treating is the same as the U.S. made ones, but presumably it should be. Aluminum scales that are anodized aluminum and stainless steel liner lock. If you look closely, you would see that there's bronze bushings on either side of the blade. And very sturdy little knife. Blade's nice and tight. The blade is actually a little bit thicker than the Bantam blade, just by a small amount. But it's a very functional little knife, very inexpensive, made in China. I guess I'm glad that I can buy, a knife made in somewhere in China, wherever. That's a pretty decent quality. Now, this one is made by Buck, so presumably some of the profits from the sale of this, support the U.S. company. But I would not put anyone down for buying Chinese knives. I mean, the Chinese make some fantastic knives these days. They also make some junk. You kind of have to be careful about what you buy. But, this day and age, we're going to buy stuff made in China. And I guess we're lucky that we can. Like I say, it's a whole other discussion about the politics of buying from that country. But like I say, I'm just real happy that still today you can buy a U.S.-made pocket knife less than $20. And if you're willing to go up a little bit in price, say $35, $40, the range of U.S.-made pocket knives is significantly larger. If you get up to $75, $80, $100, then there's a lot of them, and of course you can sky's the limit from there. You can spend as much as you want, and some people just don't want to spend a tremendous amount of money on a pocket knife, especially if they're prone to losing them. And so being able to buy an affordable U.S.-made pocket knife for a decent price, I think is a really nice thing. And I think we should support U.S. companies as U.S. citizens. We should try to support them when possible. So that's just, I think, kind of what this video is about. I wanted to see if you could still buy a U.S.-made pocket knife for $20 or less. And you can. The choices are small, but they're there. And if you're willing to spend a little bit more, you can. There's a pretty good selection. So, but like I say, this day and age, I think it's a good idea to support U.S. manufacturers. But at the same time, I understand we're going to buy stuff made in other countries. And I like buying from countries that are supportive of the United States. Our relationship with China is kind of a love-hate relationship. But sometimes we're just going to buy stuff made in China. Anyway, kind of a weird video about some of that. If you have any thoughts or comments on this subject, please don't hesitate to leave me a comment. As always, thanks for watching.